In this video, I'm going to share my way of conducting competitor research and analysis. While competitor analysis can serve many purposes, in this video, we will focus on its role in marketing, specifically in developing and promoting your product or service based on what is actually happening in the market rather than based on your or someone else's assumptions. But before diving in, let's address a common mistake that a lot of business owners and marketers fall for, which is the trap of copying your top competitors. This often leads to blending in with a crowd, which is counterproductive. To illustrate this, imagine a field of letters E. Among them, there is a letter Q. It is easy to spot because it's different and it stands out, and you probably noticed it really quickly. But there is also a hidden letter F in there. It's not so easy to see. Maybe you noticed after I told you, but generally it takes people much longer to notice an F than a Q. When it comes to your competitor analysis, your goal isn't to turn your product into an E or even an F. Your goal is to craft a Q, which is something appealing and noticeable in the marketplace. Another thing to keep in mind is that essentially identical things presented differently will be perceived differently. For example, here we have two identical small gray squares placed on different backgrounds. Even though the small gray squares are exactly identical, the square on the darker background appears brighter, while the one on the lighter background seems darker. This illustrates a crucial marketing concept, which is even with identical products or value propositions, how you package, present, deliver your product or service will change how it is perceived by your potential customers. Your goal is basically to strategically position your product or service so that it appears highly appealing and valuable to your target audience relative to your competitors. You should aim to make it a no-brainer for your audience to choose you. Of course, beyond presentation and positioning, you should also strive to actually have the best product or service in the marketplace, but that's a subject for another video. Competitor research and analysis is a significant task that will take you several hours if you actually put effort into it. So you will need to take thorough notes, and here's the format that I recommend. I'll leave a link to the template in the video description. The idea is to have your competitors listed as column headers. As you find new competitors, keep adding them as headers. Then, in the first column, list the unique selling points or value propositions that you find and just keep adding them in a row and just keep stacking value propositions and the competitors that you find in your research. I like to break down value propositions into two types, explicit and implicit. Explicit refers to the tangible, clear benefits of a product or service that the customer can easily and obviously see. A customer can easily compare it, and it is straightforward for a customer to identify. Examples include battery life, delivery time, guarantees, or flexible pricing plans. Implicit value refers to the intangible, emotional, or inferred benefits that customers associate with your product or service. An example would be a luxury experience or a brand recognition. Implicit value is often communicated at the top of the funnel. For search, where the goal is to capture already existing customer demand. Then in the table, once you're done adding competitors and USPs, assign a rating from 0 to 5 to each competitor's explicit value proposition, 0 being the worst offer in the market and 5 being the best offer in the market. I found that 0 to 5 scale is easy to use and easy to read, but you can use whatever scale you prefer. While you're still collecting competitor names and USPs, don't assign ratings as it's a relative scale, so you might end up changing those ratings later if you start adding them too soon. So I recommend not to assign ratings at the beginning. Just start by adding competitors and USPs or value propositions first. For implicit values, numerical ratings aren't really practical because they're really subjective. So instead, I just recommend taking descriptive notes on how competitors communicate these implicit values. Also, certain USPs are not going to have a scale when it's a binary yes or no, like a free consultation, for example. In this case, you're going to have to assign a value to this USP between 0 up to 5 or whatever your scale is, and assign this value to positive cells and 0 to negatives. In other words, if a free consultation is really important for your potential customers, assign it a value of 5 if a competitor offers a free consultation, and 0 if they don't. Depending on your industry, you should add specific including site usability, reviews, social media presence, consistent content production, brand searches, price, and so on. And then at the bottom of the table, you can add additional metrics that are important in your industry or in your area of whatever you're doing. These metrics could be things like average monthly site visitors. That's, I think, everyone should track. Whether their brand searches are growing or not, number of active ads on Google or Meta, engagement rate on social media, growth rate on social media, and so on and so forth. Now that we discussed how we're going to be taking notes, let's start with the actual research. Begin by checking ad results on search engines. If you're targeting a market outside of your location, use a VPN or a service like isearchfrom.com. Look for the most relevant, high converting keywords for your product or service. Take notes of the USPs that your competitors emphasize in their search ads. For example, if I was searching for a beauty salon in Brooklyn, I'd note USPs like Japanese hair salon, book online now, hair extension services, permanent makeup, haircut, color, blowouts, and highlights, experience the best. Unique selling points in search ads are often highly optimized for conversions, especially from established brands with large budgets. Next, check organic search results. Take note of the competitors that you find there, but I don't recommend relying on organic descriptions for USPs, as these are pulled automatically by Google and may not reflect intentional messaging from your competitors. Check related searches, and people also search for suggestions. Also, use Google's keyword planner to help you identify what users are searching for, providing you with additional insights into your customer's journey, and giving you any additional potential ideas for unique selling points that your potential customers are searching for. For example, if you see that some of the top related searches mention Instagram, you know that having a strong Instagram presence is important for a significant portion of your audience. Next, use ad libraries to gather more competitor data. For Google, visit the Google Ads Transparency Center to see the ads your competitors are running. For Meta, search the Meta ad library by competitor names as well as keywords related to your product or service. And by the way, I will leave the links in the description to all those resources I mentioned in this video. If you notice a USP appearing repeatedly, it is a strong sign that this USP is working really well for this competitor. Search hashtags and keywords organically on social media, like Instagram or TikTok, to uncover more competitors and more ideas for your competitor research. If relevant for your business or your client, do the same for LinkedIn as well. Use Google Ads auction insights to see who you're competing against in your auctions on Google Ads. If large marketplaces like Amazon or Etsy appear in your auction insights, include sellers from these marketplaces in your competitor analysis as well. Next, visit your competitor websites to gather additional insights. Pay attention to site usability and design, site speed, how they present USPs on their homepage, their product pages, their category pages, and so on, customer reviews and testimonials, and so on. Use tools like SimilarWeb to estimate traffic. Google's Page Speed Insight to measure speed, and Google Trends to track brand name searches over time. If you have a paid account for research tools like SEMrush or SERPstat, you should take advantage of them and see what competitors you can find there. But if you don't have a paid account, you don't really need it. You can do this entire research and analysis for free. Another pro tip is to use Wayback Machine to check how the websites of your top competitors evolved. And in general, I recommend taking screenshots of your top competitors' key pages in order to monitor how their website changes over time. This will help you see what messaging your competitors tested and what ended up working best for them. However, an important thing to add here is that it's a mistake to think that your competitors will put everything on their website, especially if you are in services. I recommend going a step further and actually calling or chatting with your competitors. Basically, allow them to sell to you and take note of what selling points they use on you. To gain an even deeper understanding of your competitors' marketing strategies, first, subscribe to their newsletter. Two, go to their website, add to cart, and add your email and phone number at checkout and abandon the checkout. I recommend liking and somehow engaging with their page. This will give you further insight in their remarketing, and it will help you keep an eye on their marketing activities as well. Next, check third-party reviews platforms like Trustpilot, Google Reviews, Facebook Reviews, and whatever local trusted review platforms people use in your country. I recommend focusing on negative reviews specifically. For example, if multiple reviews mention poor customer support, you can emphasize superior customer service in your own messaging, and your potential customers will see as customers actually actively seek out negative reviews. If customer service is important to them and if they see that you emphasize it, they are more likely to go with your offer. If many reviewers mention the same unique selling point, whether positively or negatively, take note of that, but keep in mind that reviewers won't tell you often why they bought something, but they will give you clarity in terms of what they found most important in their customer experience. After gathering all your data, rank explicit values using the 0 to 5 scale as we discussed, then create a total score row to sum up the explicit values, showing how customers might perceive a value of product or service from each of your competitors. Then rank your own a product or service or your offer or your client's offer. If you're ahead, congratulations, but I'm sure you can still learn something useful from this analysis to help you reinforce your advantages. If you're falling behind, it is a signal to improve your offer. Your goal should be to be amongst the best overall in your marketplace and be number one in a few areas that matter most to your ideal customer. I don't think it's reasonable or even possible for you to try to be number one in everything. Even the most successful companies and the biggest brands in the world don't do that. Now that we're done with explicit values, we still have these implicit values. Here you record the recurring messaging your competitors use again and again in their marketing and their website. This part of the analysis is tricky because unless you're the target audience, it's extremely hard to put yourself in the shoes of another person and accurately predict what emotional value they place on a certain product or service. For example, when talking about kitchen remodeling, a person might be buying a certain type of a kitchen counter and they might be looking for a specific brand of kitchen appliances. But when you actually drill down to it, why they're doing the kitchen remodeling is because they want their friends to feel jealous when they walk into their beautiful new kitchen. So when it comes to crafting your own messaging and what type of emotional triggers you should deliver in your marketing. I believe competitor analysis is important, but it's a small part of the puzzle. It's mainly for you to know what your competitors are doing. I believe you get the best understanding of your customers and why they buy and why they choose you specifically is from customer development or cust dev, as it's called sometimes, through customer interviews and customer calls. But that's a subject for another video. Remember, the goal of competitor analysis isn't to just copy what others are doing, is to gain insights that help you stand out as the obvious choice of your target audience. By identifying explicit and implicit USPs, monitoring competitors' marketing activities, and combining this knowledge with your own customer research, you can craft an offer that truly resonates with your target audience and makes it a no-brainer for them to choose you. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.